Welcome. Today, I'll be discussing some quick tips how to save money in this hobby. Now, this isn't limited to just these. These are just some key points that really help you save money. And I'll just start with like used equipment. So you can go buy pre-owned. It is a good way. Second hand, if you know somebody who's like, I'll sell this to you for dirt cheap. And if you trust the person, then yeah, do it. Now, I will say this is like some places you could go to would be it'd be like go to mom and pa's train shops. You could get brand new equipment, and the really nice ones are the ones that where they don't change the price. So the price that it's already paid off. So the price it came in, it's the price it goes out. No changing of prices. So you could buy old new stock for dirt cheap. I mean, like those old blue boxes for $18 with that have been painted, or I think originally they were 12 at the shop I went to, but they increased the price because they wanted to be able to include it in the sale. So the price went up, and so I mean, yeah. But you get them at estate sales, a great way. As another great way you find cheap because I'll be honest, most people don't know the value of them. And the sad truth is, a lot of the stuff that's hobby it's like it's like owning a boat, watching your money fly out as you go down the road. So this hobby is very much like fishing boats. It's the best way I've been told to describe it. Now, another like if you're looking for like what 80-cent trucks and stuff, a good place to start would be toy shows because you could find old Matchbox and stuff and or go to the working rigs and stuff, and well, that stuff is 1/80 scale, but the problem is the all you gotta do is change the wheels on them because they are very the wheels on them make them look really really big, and it's something I really wish that Hot Wheels and Matchbox would do, and it probably even for if they charge like they used to, like their model line, like their $5 model line, if they do that 1/8 scale, that would be amazing. I don't know how much they charge for that, but you can find older stuff, dirt cheap. Train shows is kind of very iffy. You can find a really good deal, and the one thing I will say is if you see it, you better buy it. But I always tell people if it comes down rolling stock, it's a lot more lenient because you can work with that. If something's not working right, if you can fix it, yeah. Locomotives, it could be another story. And I will. And the thing is you can get a really good deal, too good to be true, on a locomotive, then kind of find out that deal was way too good to be true because it was nothing but it's either not, I wouldn't say falling apart, but it's broken beyond repair, or it's a huge amount to fix it or find replacement parts. Something you gotta take into account. So if you're at a train show or you're buying secondhand, always ask to test it first. If you can't test it, haggle down. Because either it's broken or there's something issue. Now, something you could do is if you do your research and you know there's a common problem with these and you know how to fix it, you can get a good deal if you know how to fix it. But the one thing I would say, depending on what you're doing, is eBay. I'm not saying that eBay is a bad place to go, but as I said, if you're buying used stuff, always test and inspect it. And if you don't like it, you can always hand it back and not buy it. But with eBay, it's kind of hit and miss because you don't know what you're getting. And a lot of times, the picture you see isn't always what you're exactly getting. Because that could have been a picture they took a long time ago of a different thing, but they're using the exact same picture because it looks really, really good compared to what you're really getting. So it's kind of like that. You go into the dealership and you see that really nice car in the picture. And when you show up and stuff, you see this. It's the exact same color, but it's not as good as what you see the pictures. It's not what you were expecting, or that's not that really nice picture is actually marked. That the actual car has actually been marked up. Well, it's kind of like Shadow Games, and I've had people who've literally bought a HO scale observation car for dirt cheap. Kind of find out that when I get it, it's O scale. And the buyer refused to do a return. And how to fix that problem is really simple. You contact eBay and you tell them the situation that the seller, not the buyer, but the seller misled you, said it what it was. It's always important to read those small descriptions because I've kind of scrolled through eBay several times just to look at stuff, and the descriptions it says does not run, or it has wear and tear on it, but the title says something completely different. But it also says read description thoroughly. And when you read all the way through it, you realize, oh, it has all these problems. So some people are very honest. But if you know someone who does sell on eBay and you trust that they're really good, that's a good way to get stuff. But you also have show dealers too that will do the exact same thing eBay does. But I've literally had somebody sell because they're really big on Pennsy. But about that and 2 other locomotives, went to the test track, tested it, realized it had broken gears inside of it, which would be a headache to replace it with this manufacturer. Said, hey, this locomotive doesn't really work. It's like, oh, okay, so you got his money back. So it's a lot of things you gotta take account because show dealers gotta make their profit. So, but it's also another thing is do your research when it comes down to train shows because I've literally not just seen, but also heard of other situations where somebody bought a brand new locomotive from a store, and a locomotive that only costs 259 DC and 359 DCC. Well, I mean by DC, I mean it's DC ready. So that'd be like an Athearn Genesis ES44. I don't remember which one it was. But it was a selling unit, and the guy had it marked up to like 459. And the guy was arguing with it. I was like, "That is as cheap as I can go." I was like, "But that's not how much they sell at the store." I was like, "Well, that's not how cheap it is." It's like literally, we went to I visit the train store, and the person who was arguing with him actually had a train store shirt on. I said, "Hey, I know what I'm talking about. You're lying." And called the guy out. So you also got to keep in mind, new isn't always quite new either. Something else you do is if someone says it's new, it's like, oh, can I look at it then? Open up the box. Look at the wheels. If the wheels are black, that means it's been used. At least either ran a lot, because something could be new and not been sold, but it had been ran quite a bit. So that's something you got to take account. So now something you also got to take account is short term, long term. I'm going to say that track. I just did a previous video about TrackWise, so starter track. If you're going to do it like a starter set in a long term thing, you want to save money, I'm going to say go with the Kato. That's my opinion because Kato has lasted a whole lot longer. I haven't had to replace a single piece of Kato track. I've only seen one person bring Kato track that needed to be replaced because he dropped a hammer on it. And the store track that they used did finally break, but that same piece has been used, taken up, put together and apart several times in a day for over 3 years. So I mean, that says a lot about it. Locomotive wise, do your research, but I'm gonna say stick with the diesels. The smaller the better. Now, something you do is like, with scale trains, they do operators, which is more cheaper than the rivet counter. Then you also got Athearn, which is a cheaper version of their Genesis. And how Athearn does their stuff, it's really, it's kind of the difference between an Athearn and a Genesis is the Athearn is basically across the board. While the Genesis, how that works is it's to that locomotive number itself. So And Action's like your generic looking locomotive, while your Genesis is your more highly detailed locomotive. Your River Counter is like a Genesis. I don't think Rapido really has that kind of line. There's Walthers and stuff. There's Atlas you can find, but I don't have any Walthers locomotives. But I also something else to take account is I don't have Atlas or Walthers, but I usually have. So if there's something you're going to stick in the long haul, get a better locomotive, do your research, figure out what brands tend to last longer. It doesn't have to be a brand new locomotive, just kind of think about putting in the research, like, well, how long would it take to convert it if I'm going to DCC? Is this something I'm going to do DCC? If you're already buying a DCC locomotive, like if you're already going to put sound in this, you already know, and you already have a system, and you're not caring about the decoder, just go with the DCC system. Not system, but just go with the DCC sound unit already. So you're going to save yourself about with speakers. It depends on what you get. $17 for an average speaker. Yeah. Decoder can range depending on $100 to $170 depending on what you get. So I mean, there's a lot of factors that take place. But another way to actually save money is rolling stock. So right here is I have same manufacturer, two different. In my left hand is an Operators, which is in a Genesis. So I mean, the detail you could. I highly do recommend it. It's a great way to save money. Is running a less detailed locomotive. Well, not locomotive, but rolling stock with your detailed stuff. Because when it goes by, you're not gonna really get to see a lot unless it sits. And when you put grime and stuff on it, I mean. Another way to do is you go always buy, and I'm having brain fart because I don't remember which is in my hand. What? Because I have on one hand is Scale Trains, the other is Intermountain. They're the exact same number, and there is a price between them, I believe. Not sure, but they got good details. So I mean, it's all what you want to get out of it. Something else is kits. So, is right here is what you could get with Scale Trains. They have a kit, and it just depends on when you get it and where. It's the price. Another thing is Blue Box. Old Blue Box, old rolling stock. You can reuse old stuff. Some of my stuff has clips on it. I'm gonna be honest, I think I actually had to glue these bad boys down because they kept popping off, but this is an old Show Me Lines painted Blue Box. This one was the Air Force. So, there's that. Now, when it comes down to scenery and stuff, it really depends on what you're wanting to get at. Like, a good thing to do is, instead of buying all your trees, make a lot of trees your own. There's many videos how to do it. And it's a great way to do stuff. And what makes a lot of these, and just decorate the tree and put it in your back while buying really nice ones for the front, and just use those handmade, or you just use the handmade all the way. And the more you do, the better you get at it. So you can always put those brand new trees, those really good looking ones in the front, while you put the kind of the testers or the you had to go home early Friday, happy Friday trees. So your lazy Friday trees that you want to make in the back. But scratch building is another great way to do stuff. And kit bashing. So let's say you put a lot of models and you have extra pieces, because you don't always need to use every single piece to do. And you don't have to use the whole kit. You can always put half the kit in the wall or something and give a picture to it. You don't need to use every single piece. And you use those extra pieces to make something else. Another thing is, instead of having to pay for glue, as you roll your paint down And something I always recommend doing is putting layers of paint. So I haven't, like, if you use, depending what type of ground, just put your first coat down, second coat, till you have everything covered. You don't have your pink foam popping out, or blue foam, or whatever you use, or white foam, or stuff like that. Unless you're trying to, whatever it is. So it's as you roll the paint down, then you just sprinkle your, what I've been told is just sprinkle your scene, so your grasses and stuff on it, your bushes and stuff, and use it as glue. It's a great way to save money and not have to buy glue and have to deal with that. So it can be less of a headache. And if you don't like it, you can always just roll over it again or pull it out and use it as texture and use different paints and stuff. You can always use that paint as a texture changing if you use it on a roller. So, yeah. If this was useful to you, let me know. But hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and it was helpful. And hit the bell icon and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And stay connected. Enjoy the rest of your day.